What's up, beautiful people? This video is about the March monthly energy report, and we have a lot going on. Been talking to a lot of people lately and hearing all these stories of a lot of people are kind of struggling right now, feeling heavy, feeling weighed down. A lot of, I guess you could say, malaise and just frustration. And everybody can also feel this something coming, right? And this something coming is hitting the collective particularly in the United States, but it is all over the place. This very deep, transformative, purgative kind of energy. So depending on your relationship to how you allow the purge to move through you will depend on how you feel. And I can tell you right now, I feel that this is bringing up ancestral trauma, clearing to the very core of our souls, and really testing our soul's determination and strength and will. Yeah, I believe our soul has, will, and our ego has will. And there's parts of our ego that can't come with us. We're like birthing a new version of our ego, really, especially with the North Node conjunct Chiron. As I'm filming this, that aspect is exact. And, collectively, that means that whatever blind spot we have, and this is going to depend on wherever that energy is in your chart, where you're going to feel it. For me, it's on the cusp of my 12th and first house. So I personally, to give an example, I've been experiencing a lot of deep awarenesses of where I've gotten in my own way of my identity, where my self-worth has held me back from having an abundant and rich and fulfilling life, believing that I deserve financial abundance and independence, believing that I deserve to be, have my daughter in my life and being a good father. All these deep ancestral, experiences of wounds are really coming up for everybody. And so if you're feeling super triggered right now, I would recommend and suggest that maybe you find a place to, you know, be by yourself, get out whatever energy that you're around. Um, take a little bit of time, and everybody needs this right now. So, uh, eh, you know, we really need to sit with ourselves because we're coming into, I think, the most powerful, massive transformative aspects humanity has felt in a very, very long time. I don't know when the last time would be before the age of Pisces, a couple thousand years, because we have all these new energies of Aquarius that are now we're now in this new territory of, and Aquarius is unexpected, uh, unexpected, like electricity, like activations in our central nervous system, in our mind, in our body. If you don't have a strong Aquarius position in your chart, this is going to be harder for you than people that do have that, because I have an Aquarius moon, so my emotional state has always been very unorthodox. Like, I see the blind spots and everything. And it can be all or nothing. It can be very dissociative, or it can be brilliant, it can be very connective. And so it's really all of our blind spots are getting hit right now, from multiple different angles, right? This video is for March, but the energy that we just moved through in February has been planting some seeds to activate a new yin yang sort of, divine masculine, divine feminine approach, in this new Aquarian energy. So we're going through a massive collective rebirth, and it's also individual as well. Now, also because Saturn is in Pisces, it literally on day one, it's a conjunct Saturn, and this is sort of like the karmic reality check, the first one we've had in 30 years, right? So this karmic reality check is really throwing your deepest truth in your face, and we are all making a choice right now. You really made the choice this week that I'm like during around the full moon in Virgo in February, this week was the choice point. Now, whatever choice that you made, you're going to take a step further in that direction. And if you're going in the direction of more karmic lessons, the karmic lessons are going to be hitting so much harder and faster that you might feel like you're dying. You might feel like your body, like you're not going to be able to function properly, right? So if you're in that place, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're doing something against your soul's will, and you need to stop. You really need to stop, okay? Because as we go through this month of March into April, it's going to get so much more intense. But the intensity for when you allow your soul to guide you is going to be so magnificently opening and amazing. And we're activating, these deeper gifts, these extrasensory perceptions. And this is why April is going to be such a major, huge month. But we start the eclipse season in March. So it's gonna be like this is a slow burn, kind of like frogs in the boiling water. But now the water is really boiling, right? It's been getting warm slowly over since 2020, right? It's getting warm, and like the end of last year, it got pretty hot. Now this year, it just bam, it ramped up to 95, 96%, and we're going to have Neptune coming into 29 degrees. March, it'll be at 28. But in these degrees where Neptune is first, like it's almost going to be like you're not really sure what's real. Reality is going to become so confusing because what's really happening is we're going to start to see in this 3D reality all the fourth dimensional energies and beings really playing out like, and this is why all this talk about the zombie apocalypse and all this weird stuff, all this misinformation, but different people perceive these things in different ways, right? So maybe it's going to look like zombies are running around, but people that are aware and understand what's going on realize and know that these are fourth dimensional entities that are literally taking people over and experiencing life through these people. And these people that are not waking up are going to be in a constant state of trigger. And this is why the people that have been doing that inner work and are moving through these energies, uh, either way, it's not easy, right? But if you're moving through them with love for self love, maybe that means you have to leave a job because you hate, if you're going to work every day and you hate your freaking job, like this month in March, it's going to be so intense that you just literally can't get yourself up, in the morning to go. And then April's going to hit. And then we also have to consider the external factors, right? Whatever's going to happen, there's definitely going to be some kind of major event happening in April. I believe March, April, or May, but April is like the apex of the energy. But there's a massive, deep, intense buildup, and we're going to start to see things really collapsing in this next couple months. But these collapses need to happen, and as they collapse, we as a society, as aware beings, need to get organized. We have to connect. We have to start putting plans into motion, into action through our divine guidance. When it's right, we will know. And the key is to trust that knowing. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of people that need our help. If you're watching this, chances are you're doing the work and you understand all this kind of stuff. But so many people are going to just start feeling crazy because this spiritual energy is moving through all the chakras, and people that don't have their chakras aligned, people that are not in mind heart coherence, right? It's like they're suddenly experiencing the virus that they've been carrying in their lineage, and they've been so dependent upon the third dimensional reality of making lots of money, of being helplessly dependent on keeping a certain lifestyle or keeping things a certain way. When things are going to change, whether they like it or not, they try to hold on to that. They're going to go nuts, and they're going to and they're going to see these people like you and I that are not going nuts, that we're going to have this calm confidence about us. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be difficult. I have a calm confidence about me right now, but things have still been difficult, right? But I accept the difficulty and I allow it to move through me because I have a knowing in my heart of what's coming, and I know things are going to get better for us. And I just believe that with my heart and soul. And our belief systems are what's going to be driving whatever direction that we're going to be going. So if you are not in a home that is happy and loving, if you are not in a job that you love and are passionate about, if you are not in a relationship that makes you feel safe and whole, if you don't have friends that allow you to be vulnerable and feel safe, pretty much if you have a life where you don't feel safe, and there's a lot of karmic energy to work through, that karmic energy is going to start to be hitting double, triple time right now. Okay. And you've got to do the inner work. So we're going to have a mass awakening March, April, May timeframe. This is what and the volume in which healing centers and men's groups and women's groups and all these things are starting to come together, they're going to magnify tenfold. Whatever happens on the outside, those of us connected in mind heart coherence are going to get divine downloads to know what to do, to know where to go in order to create this new earth. This is really where we start building the new earth, guys. Okay. So it's the change, it's almost overwhelmingly scary, but that's the ego that wants to be safe when our heart, our soul knows that maybe on the outside it doesn't look safe, but we know that there's something greater on a much deeper and greater scale happening. And the level and depth of propaganda and mind control tactics that are going to be going on are going to be ramped up next level. And then that next level is going to go to a next level. It's going to look nuts. All right. What I believe may happen, I personally think it's going to be like a coronal mass ejection that's going to knock out like the grid in some way, and then not having that communication. There's going to be people that are going to try to take advantage of it for negative reasons, and then people are going to try to take advantage of it for positive reasons. I personally will be one of the people taking advantage of it for positive reasons, but we all have to be ready. And I'm not trying to put any fear out there, but we can all feel something coming, and we have to be prepared and be honest with ourselves. Okay, so be honest with yourself. Are you truly feeling right in yourself about where you're at? Like now, if things are falling apart, like I have a lot of friends that actually are very squared away, very wealthy, very loving, very good people, and a lot of parts of their life are falling away. Well, those were parts of the life that weren't sitting on a firm, true foundation. Whatever changes are happening, it's happening because there was a lie someone was telling themselves somewhere in there, and that lie had to be exposed. And right now, whatever's coming up is coming up with a sucker punch to the face. All right. So take the lick and keep on going because the darkness will not win. But there's like a 99% to 100% rule. The 99, the darkness will go to that 99%, but the heart, the love, we have to be willing to go all the way into it, right? Like kind of like in the special forces, right? When you're going into training, the different ways that they test you, you basically have to be willing to die before you give up, or die to make it through it, right? And that's kind of like what life is serving us right now. So we're going into like spiritual special forces time, where we have to be willing to die because the parts of us that are lower vibration that are not meant to come with us are dying off. Our bodies, our physical bodies, are getting an upgrade in the DNA. We're shifting from carbon-based to crystalline-based structures, which is funny that they're trying to activate a carbon-based tax on people. It's absolutely ridiculous and retarded. All right, but maybe we're going to see some kind of alien abduction or alien false flag going on. There's a really good chance we're going to see something in the United States. They've been working on this for a while, so we need to come together, right? Like we need to work together and really make this happen. So here, let's go to the charts, and then I'm going to get to some other announcements that I want to share with you afterwards. So right here, we're looking at March 1st. We have Saturn at 10. So now Saturn is in the second decan of Pisces. So last year it only got to 7 degrees. So, you know, Saturn takes about 2.5 years to go through a sign. So this is the meat and potatoes of the learning lesson of Pisces. This is where the real tests are happening. And with the Sun conjunct Saturn, this is reality check time. Now, the real bulk of that came up during the full moon, because the full moon in Virgo was opposed Saturn conjunct the Sun and conjunct Mercury. Uh, and with that, Mercury is also speaking, to the soul with Saturn, saying, "Hey, like whatever you're starting, whatever you're doing, there's some things that need to be addressed here." All right, like whatever's not working out, like look within, because your external world is a exact reflection of your internal world. We also just finished having the Mars and Venus conjunction, which was our divine masculine and our divine feminine coming together and looking and transforming and planting seeds for relationships, whether it's bringing in new relationships, understanding our own relationship patterns in a new way, um, you know, creating new, better, solid boundaries, or if everything's falling apart. And this can happen in a myriad of different ways. But just know that the last part of February was all about really looking at your relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people, and whatever you end up seeing, having the courage to take action on what you know is right for you. Saturn conjunct the Sun is, we all have some kind of compensation, a bad habit, or like especially negative thinking. I've been talking to a lot of people that are really just thinking very, very negative right now, because there's so much propaganda coming out with all this fear mongering, and not just fear mongering, but separation shit, right? Like even all this talk about Palestine and Israel. It's a terrible, tragic thing that's going on over there. But if you feed into that, then you're feeding into the dualistic nature of the third dimensional world. That's still going to drag you down, right? We need to stay focused on creation, not competition. We need to be focused on bringing this into unity consciousness and what we can control. Because look, fact is, you can't control any of the shit that's going on over there right now, right? That's outside of your control. But what you can control is what you're creating in your reality right now. And by bringing in unity consciousness and people and places and things together that you specifically have a passion for, that is doing your part to change this reality into the higher vibration. Okay, we have Chiron here at 17 degrees now, the North Node at 16. So now they're not exactly conjunct. Now we see, or we've moved through the understanding of the deepest part of the wound. And now that we have, it's like, now what are you going to do about it? Right? Like, now what are you going to step into? Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius is now really settling into this new Aquarian energy. And of course, we have Jupiter now at 11 degrees of Taurus with Uranus at 19 degrees. Jupiter is now just 8 degrees away from the conjunction. So we're going to start feeling this much, much stronger. Once Jupiter gets about within a 10-degree orb, that's when we start to feel that's really that feeling of something big's coming. Okay, not to mention that uh, the April eclipse is these guys are literally 2 degrees from each other. So the energy is just, it's like holding your hands together like this, and then you have electromagnetism that's going on between the two, and then there's that feeling of that sort of pressure, right? And then once you connect, close the circuit, then it embodies everything, right? So it's like it's all sitting right there, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. And as the electromagnetism is gaining force, it's like we need to be more conscious, or that we're more aware of the subtle differences of the electromagnetism that's going on between our hands, but we haven't made the connection yet. So there's a massive amount of electrical tension because Uranus rules the central nervous system. It's like electric insights, it can be genius, but it also can like fry you out, right? So learning how to mitigate this electricity by calming the central nervous system is going to be super important. All right. whatever it is that you do to mitigate your stress. People can get incredibly stressed out right now, and like just fried. Okay, that's just where the keys come out, just completely fried. So don't fry yourself out. Allow yourself to, take time and if you try to push yourself too hard, you could, pop a blood vessel or like it this month, if you keep trying to force things, it could pop, right? It could have a devastating effect. So we do not want to do that. Coming into this eclipse season too, it's ending the previous cycle of the learned lessons and bringing in the new cycle. So I just started a new job today. I'm out here in southeastern Florida, and I started training out of Elevation Fitness here, right? So now that I'm personal training out there, and if anybody's out there and lives down here, you want to work with me, I'd be happy to work with you. Uh, but it's something new, but a lot can change here in the next 2 months. So I'm taking it one day at a time. Planning, doing my new website and planning, a whole new way to brand myself. And, this Jupiter Uranus conjunction will be in my first house, my identity. So basically, I'm whatever the universe is bringing into my life, it's making me need to step up into the fullest version of expression. And I have Chiron in my first house, right? The reason why I'm using my examples is because they're the best examples that I can explain. Chiron in the first house is identity wound. So through the past, I've always attached my identity to external things, right? When I was in the military, I attached myself to being, like EOD operator, like, special forces. I use my external validation for people praising me. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, you're fucking hardcore, blah, blah, blah. Thanks. But that never lasts. Then I started bodybuilding, and I got my external validation from looking the way I look and getting on stage and getting judged, right? But I was really judging myself. I was a perfectionist. And then eventually that broke down. Then I took on the identity as a healer as I started working with different plant medicines and entheogens, right? And I'm healing people left and right. But my identity took on, I was all this external validation I was getting because I'm great at all these things that I do. But I had to go through all these layers to understand that I am really none of those things. I am, right? Those are things that I do, but they don't define who I am. So now I do them all, right? And now that I do them all, like there's a certain sense of freedom in that because now I just get to help people and meet them where they're at in all these different ways. And it doesn't like I don't care about external validation anymore. But it took me a long time to be able to even see that. So there's something that we're subconsciously like programmed, right? And wherever the Jupiter Uranus, wherever 19 degrees of Taurus is in your chart is really where this big, deep, huge awareness is going to come out and create lots of growth. If it's in your second house, it's going to be about self-worth, and whatever happens, it's going to give you opportunities to really see improve your self-worth, and then it can make you a lot of money. If it's in your third house, you could it could be about maybe you want to write a book or have all these ideas about writing a book or publishing something or creating a training guide or teaching or creating community. If it's in your fourth house, you want to buy a new house or connect to your ancestors in a new way or improve your relationship with your mom. Fifth house, like your creativity has been blocked, and then suddenly, bam, something happens. You have a huge awakening and understand something new you want to create, and then you just go get super huge deep into it. Sixth house, you could want to get back in shape because you've been struggling with insomnia. Now you want to get your day-to-day structure right, and your body is going to be screaming at you, hey, we need to get this shit going. Seventh house, you could suddenly get married or suddenly want to be in a meet the love of your life, all these different things in these different houses. Something big is going to happen, all right, at the same time as this solar eclipse is going to happen in April. Is going to be massive, but of course I'm going to talk much deeper in depth about that when April comes. But with March, we have, let's see, first and foremost, we have a new moon coming in on March, let's see, March 9th. Let's just, yeah, March 10th. Okay, at 20 degrees of Pisces. So this is really, I mean, we have Neptune that's at 27 degrees and Saturn that's at 11 degrees. So we have these two energies that are right in the middle, but this is a pretty massive stellium that's sitting in Pisces. And there's a yod, which is a karmic lesson collectively that we need to learn, pointing to Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. This is where a lot of anger, like a lot of on the dark side of this, we're going to see a lot of attempted manipulation. We're going to see a lot of narcissistic victim kind of energy coming out, like that has to do with probably gender identities or um, you know, pedophilia is, another one that's, there are certain people that are fighting for pedophilia rights, and then, you know, then I would say the good guys really are trying to clear out those tunnels. There could be something going on with that because this is a deep karmic, like that's dark shit. Now, on the positive side of Black and Lilith, this is empowerment of the divine feminine in sort of a rebellious and purified kind of way, right? So this is people coming out and talking like women saying, hey, no, look, like I want to be in a healthy relationship with the man, and these people are fucking crazy, and like a rebellious standing up for good, good sound morals, ethics, and boundaries. All right, and everybody has their own idea about all this stuff. I'm just saying the kind of stuff we're going to see out in the world, but it is being connected to Mars, which is quincunx over to Black Moon Lilith. The other quincunx is coming over to Chiron in the north. Wait a minute, no, it's coming over to yeah, Chiron in the north node. All right, so I mean, this is a deep wound, deep wound in the collective identity. Now, not to mention too, but um, the United States Chiron in the United States chart is at 19 degrees. Maybe 20 degrees, but it's right there. And this total solar eclipse is going to be exactly conjunct Chiron. Um, and this is why it's such a big deal. And there's even biblical references to this. It's also 7 years after the last full lunar eclipse. So this is a new beginning, a new start. This is a deep awareness coming together. That's a complete shift in the collective identity of what it means to be American. Really. But on March 10th, we have Venus now at 28 degrees, which is just about to come into Pisces. So Saturn and Neptune being on each side of this new moon is having us really look at what do we really want to believe? What is our life like? Are we really happy? Um, this is looking at like creating form in the emotional tidal waves that we're experiencing right now, trying to make sense of it, or at least a new start or a new beginning, and knowing that we can make sense of it, but we still got some work to do. And this can either increase the level of trust or increase the level of fear through karmic lessons, depending on which way you decide to go. Really, this month is where we really choose love or fear overall, at the very foundation, at the very core. If you choose love, you clear all the ancestral baggage, you activate and embody the full amount of the ancestral energy, which is all the ancestral gifts as well, and the however many lifetimes that we have had. And if you choose fear, then it's going to start to affect you in a whole new way. Your decisions, your lifestyle, where you're at, you're going to start to create disease in your body, and it's going to start hitting fast. And like, I just being real, like a lot of souls are going to choose to leave at this time, because if the fear takes grip too much, it's going to feel like it's too much. And I don't want to see that, of course. Like that's what we are here trying to prevent. To heal the people that really want to wake up and do the work. And that requires brutal honesty with the self. And the resources are going to start to really pile up because the need is going to be massive. Now, not only that, But I also believe that this is going to be the start of, yes, the financial collapse, but also the beginning of a new massive wealth transfer. Now, how I don't know how that's going to look, but I do know that people with a lot of money, especially a lot of people that haven't been aware of all this kind of stuff, are going to be looking and seeking out therapies and ways to clear this stuff out and get rid of it. And it's people like us that are aware that are going to be able to help them. And we're not going to even plant medicine is going to start to become a thing that's not necessarily as much needed. I think that as it gets more mainstream, it's getting more clouded with that dark energy. And unfortunately, like I'm hearing that there are like shaman courses that you can take online. Look, becoming a shaman is not something that you can take a course for. All right. It's something that you are chosen and that you must go through hell, multiple layers of hell over and over and over again. That's chosen through your ancestors and chosen through you know, the things that you go through to learn through experience is not something that you can intellectually understand. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are doing that and think that they are helping when really they haven't done the work and they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. All this fluffy spiritual shit, it's actually pretty freaky and scary. Um, so enough said about that. Let's just make sure that we all do our part to be authentic and honest with ourselves in our capacity to be able to help others. And also helping others comes through a big part of it is coming through community to create unity, and not just, like my side is better than your side, or my medicine is better than your medicine, or my this is different or better in some way than your that. That's all crap. We're all trying to do the same thing and help, but just don't lie to yourself and don't lie to others. All right. Now, in the same token as that, like people are at a certain frequency and they invite certain energies in. So if, again, karmic lessons, like, and I've seen so many of these over the years working with different medicines and different people and whatnot, um, these people, they may still have to learn karmic lessons. And even in the spiritual community, there's a lot of karmic lessons being learned. So just be very careful. All right. As we continue on, Neptune moves to 27 degrees on March 11th. So now it's in the last 3 degrees. This is where we're going to start to see all the propaganda really ramping up to a whole new level. Jupiter is now moving along at 13 degrees, and it's going to start moving much quicker here into the month. On March 12th, we have Venus now exalted in Pisces, right? But now we have one, two, three, four energies in Pisces. That is a pretty powerful stellium. So really what we're doing this month is this is the final ending of endings before the big new beginning. Really the new beginning of the year starts during March when the sun moves into Aries, right? But even when the sun moves into Aries this year, it really doesn't get going until it crosses over Chiron, because now there's a new beginning, but the sun still has to communicate with that deep wound and the North Node. So it's like there's a deep sense of death and rebirth going on, but the rebirth really doesn't start until I would say the middle of April. Okay. And that new rebirth, it's the deepest, most profound rebirth we've ever experienced. And now we're locked into this frequency. And that's really going to determine that there's going to be one last part when Pluto goes back into Capricorn to really teach us these last bit of these karmic lessons before we're fully and completely into the age of Aquarius, right? But this is the real test, guys. This is really like the deepest, most profound part of the change that we're going to be experiencing. You have to trust through this process. Okay. Um, and as you do, the more you trust, the more you're going to get confirmation that you can trust. So there's a massive centrifugal force either going up or a massive centrifugal force going down. It feels up and down, if that makes sense, right? I should say up and down in vibration and frequency. So Venus is now moving along. We have, let's see, Chiron 17. Chiron moves to 18 degrees on March 16th. The sun will conjunct Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces on March 17th. With Mercury now just about to conjunct the North Node, and Mercury is going to retrograde on April 1st at 27 degrees of Aries. So right here, Mercury is in its shadow period, all right? And when it's shadow period going over the North Node in Chiron, that means that there's this last bit of this identity crisis going on that is in our blind spot about our identity in relationship to the world that we're going to need to go over here a couple times. This is the last bit. Okay, now I'm not saying it's the last bit ever, but for this death and rebirth cycle that we're going through, this is giving us an opportunity to really fully step into mind heart coherence. And once we feel that, and then once we manifest that in real life, our gifts are going to start to come online so much faster. It's going to be freaky. Telekinesis and like telepathy, and honestly, I think that's going to be really important for whenever this extraterrestrial stuff gets kicked up, because I think that stuff's going to get kicked up this year as well too. I think there's going to be false flags about that. I think they're friendly. That's just my personal opinion. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, so now we have on March 19th, Mercury exactly conjunct the North Node, just 2 degrees away from Chiron, and Jupiter's at 14 degrees of Taurus now, and now of course Uranus is at 20 degrees. So we have a 6-degree difference. The energy of that is really, really getting intense. Venus is coming up to conjunct Saturn, that's now at 12 degrees, is moving pretty quickly. And the sun comes into Aries on March 20th. And so we still have Venus conjunct Saturn. Now, Venus was conjunct Pluto here in February, right? It was conjunct Pluto and Mars really at the same time. So this is really looking at like this new world that we want to create. How do we create it? And what, if any, are the karmic blocks that are keeping us, or where do we need to strengthen our boundaries, or really be, again, brutally honest with ourselves about who we are and what we want. And Neptune's moving pretty fast now too, but Jupiter on March 21st now at 15 degrees, so Jupiter is moving pretty damn quick. And then on March 23rd, we have Mars now moving into Pisces. So now we have, well, still 4 planets, all right? But this whole month, literally, we're like maintaining 4 planets in Pisces, and this is the collective 12th house, right? So massive endings for this year. Of course, when Saturn conjuncts Neptune, crosses over the border from Pisces to Aries, that's going to be a whole new era. But there's levels to this shit, right? So at this level, we're kind of going to another level in the video game or in the hologram, right? In the Matrix. And so we're going to start to see people activated. When I say activated, I mean like starseeds and people with very powerful healing gifts, or people that have been pre-programmed hundreds of thousands of years ago to come here and to create this new earth, are going to start to get downloads about what to do to start the creation process. Okay, it's going to be like you may feel a bit like a puppet on a string, because you're going to be drawn to go to these places, to talk to these people, to get things going, and then suddenly things are just going to start manifesting, right? But the manifestation right now, like this month, I literally almost feel like it's like Neo, now coming out of the pod and having all those wires bursting off them, and then getting the acupuncture and strengthening up. Our whole spirit team is there to wake us up and activating all these new gifts. And now we're going to be going into training, learning how to use all these new gifts, because we're really realizing just how freaking powerful we are. Okay, you're going to start to feel so much lighter, and so much like this knowing is going to replace the heaviness, and it's going to feel so much better. So trust that that's coming. Okay, you guys got this. I have faith in you. And so on March 25th, let's see here, at 5 degrees of Aries and 5 degrees of Libra, we have the first lunar eclipse. So there's a yod also during this lunar eclipse, and this is Venus at 16 degrees of Pisces. That is quincunx over to the south node, and the south node is quincunx over to Jupiter. So this is, and Jupiter is sextile to Venus, so this is the smaller benefic and the greater benefic. Quincunx to the south node, this is something that we need to collectively let go. All right, and this has to do with some type of relationship shit. Now, of course, this can depend for specifics based on your personal chart, but Libra is about relationships or balancing of the scale. So it could also be, court cases, like going in the favor of what's just and moral and ethical. Like, like the light is winning here, but the light wins with a very important karmic lesson. And I see something big happening in the United States, maybe like in court, maybe, Mr. T, whatever he has going on. But again, this is clearing out and, creating embodiment in this new level of self-worth of, whatever makes you feel high value, because you are high value, right? But you are only as high value as you believe you are. And so these belief systems, especially if there's a relationship that is interlocked, that's based on self-limiting belief systems, that's going to be a very big problem. And Venus is, say, hey, you got to let this go. Like we see it, it's right here. This mutable energy is sextiling this fixed energy, and pointing at this cardinal energy. So the fixed energy is speaking to the mutable energy is speaking to the fixed energy, saying, hey, I need to change this thing and I need to embody this new version of this thing. But in order to do that, I have to take action of letting go. Now, taking action of letting go can be a little confusing, but it's more like just allow the thing to end, allow it to die off, allow you to accept this truth, allow it to, and then insert whatever you have going on. All right. But with that, then the next day, Jupiter goes to 16 degrees. All right. There's still this yod going on. This is a powerful, powerful manifestation time. The more you let go, the more you're going to see things manifest in a positive way in your life. We have Venus now moving towards Neptune, and Mars moving towards Saturn. So, we just entered eclipse season, right? So this last week and a half in March is now we have Saturn and Mars moving towards each other, and that is quite intense, especially with the same time we have the Sun moving towards the North Node in Chiron, which is going to come to a completion point. I believe it's April 8th. So with that, Mars and Saturn together is war. I mean, it's funny because Saturn is the ruler of my sun and Mars is my chart ruler in my chart. So I know these energies well. It can be excruciatingly frustrating, especially if you're doing things that are against your soul's will. But the sun coming up to the North Node in Aries, this is like your identity. Like, hey, the universe is clearing out all the self-limiting beliefs and all the things that are not serving your highest vibrational good, because you deserve to be at this next place. It kind of reminds me of that meme where Jesus is holding a huge teddy bear behind his back, and this little girl has this little teddy bear that's all beaten up, and Jesus saying, like, trust me, right? He's going to get this huge thing. You have something much bigger in store for you. Why are you holding on to the little shit? Why are you holding on to the thing that is really hurting you, right? This is where like addictions can go to overdoses. This is where, schizophrenic people can just suddenly snap, and, because these spirits are just, they're getting cleared out and they're losing their shit, and whatever we're attached to, it's the bubbles are popping. It's like the bubbles are coming up from underneath the water, and once they pop, like however they pop, right? So you got to let go of the bubbles. You got to trust. You feel like you're going to drown, then that feeling is going to lead you to the new rebirth. Okay, just allow. And I know that's hard to do sometimes, but you can do it. I know you can. All right. So March 31st, the sun is not quite conjunct the North Node yet, but it's getting there. All right. We have Mars getting closer to Saturn. Now Saturn's at 13 degrees. Venus conjunct Neptune. They're still 3 degrees apart, but these are all energies that are still coming together. Right. We have Pluto that's almost at 2 degrees. Okay. And of course, Jupiter is now at 17 degrees, just 3 degrees away from Uranus. This energy is going to be getting so intense. Literally, like, the intensity could be so beautiful. Like, if you're having sex with someone you love, it could be, the orgasms could just get much more powerful. You could have psychedelic experiences, through breath work or just through meditating. Now, as these get stronger and as we expand, where our consciousness is expanding, and we're going to be connecting to deeper energies, which also brings new responsibilities, like weird stuff like that maybe you haven't experienced before. That's going to take some learning, getting used to. We're all learning something new here, right? And with the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus, we're embodying it in our consciousness, in our physical body. Okay. So this is the start of this new beginning, but as this new beginning is taking place, we are literally ripping this old skin off. And if there are any attachments, it's almost like if you think of a scab, and the scab still has a little piece of skin on there, like from a burn or something, and you're trying to rip it off, it's like, that last part is your attachment. All right, you let go of the attachment, it'll be much smoother, but it's going to come off either way. So you can make it as painful or as easy as you want. So doing the inner work this month in particular is going to be so, so, so important. All right. So I encourage you guys, do the inner work, start exercising, start eating right, take the shit out of your life. All right. I'd say, like, doing plant medicines is, if you're with the right people, it can serve as a benefit, but I'll also be a little careful with that, because if you're not with the right people, entities are just everywhere right now. You got to be really, really careful with that. Okay. Get a massage or go out in nature and hike, or just spend some time with yourself and allow the clarity to come through the connection to yourself. All right. Especially if you're super reliant on other people in your life, which, some of us are, some of us aren't. All right. So I hope that helps. And if you guys are still here, thank you very much for listening. Please hit that like button and subscribe, and share this to people that you think would benefit from this message. And also, I started, as I spoke at the beginning, so I started personal training again. So I'm bringing 25 years of experience along with all the other stuff that I do, and I combined it into a complete transformational approach. And I'm giving 50% off to the first 30 people that sign up with me. Okay, so I'll put all the information in the description box below, but also feel free to contact me, and we can talk about it. I will eventually start doing online coaching, but right now it's going to be building up my in-person clientele base, and we're doing also gatherings and whatnot down here too, and building community finally. And this community, I have people working in Nashville, in Arizona, in Las Vegas, and out here. So things are going to be nationally known. And it's time. It's time to get out there and step out there. So if you want to get in the best shape of your life, mind, body, and spirit, let me know. And if you're one of the first 30 people, you get 50% off of all my services. So, I want to help you guys out. You guys help me out. I'm so grateful for you all very much. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.